Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Welcome to my channel. My name is Samuel and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, because I don't want to do it alone. Who doesn't want to make self-growth normal? Then make sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps with ranking and SEO and all this other stuff, and I really appreciate it because so much work goes into making these videos. You'd be surprised. A lot of work really goes into making these videos. I remember hearing in another book called Dark Money by Jane Mayer, I think that's what it was, that Charles Koch, the co-owner of Koch Industries, one of the richest people on the planet, is such a tough negotiator that when it comes to 50-50, he takes the hyphen. And since then I've wondered, how does someone learn to do that? And how do they practice it? This book, I think, has given me more insight on that than any other book I've reviewed so far on my channel. The author begins with this background story of how he learned that his style of negotiations with the FBI hostage unit with like crazy people was different from what they were teaching students in Harvard classes. It seemed like he just kept saying no, and the people would just fall apart against him in role plays and give him literally every cent that they had. But he said that, you know, it's really just because he was asking different variants of the same open-ended, like 3-4 different questions until they just give up because they don't know exactly how to answer them and they start negotiating with themselves. So basically, this book is literally psychological dynamite. That is what this book is. It's dynamite. Like, you are literally negotiating as if your life depends on it. The FBI, as it turns out, has a lot to teach the world about negotiating. He realized that without an understanding of human psychology, without the acceptance that we are all like crazy, irrational, impulsive, emotionally driven animals, all the raw intelligence and mathematical logic in the world is not enough to handle the shifting interplay of two humans negotiating. I found it interesting to find that when people feel understood, they tend to listen to themselves more carefully and also clarify and make more sense out of their own thoughts and feelings. Sounds to me like a good reason to be surrounded by an environment of understanding. I don't know about you guys. It turns out it's really all just about like communication with results in mind. Getting what you want without really doing any damage. But this is emotional intelligence on steroids here. It's written from 24 years of experience in a hardcore field of negotiations and 10 years of teaching it. Not getting to yes, coming from our boys at Harvard, although that book does have rather groundbreaking merits, perhaps, in understanding what others want and how to consider its importance in negotiations with what you want. The author explains why often a lot of us are very bad at listening. Instead of two people in a conversation, it's more like 4 people all talking to each other at the same time. Who are schizophrenic, by the way. So like, shut up and listen, and then you can tactically empathize and understand their perspective. A master negotiator will use emotions as a tool instead of being used by them like a tool. If you're a waiter or a waitress, by the way, and you want higher tips, when people tell you the order, instead of saying, okay, great, got it, tell them the order back. Just repeat what they say in their own words in a way that sounds like, okay, got it, great. This is called mirroring. It can increase your tips by 70%. There's this one chapter about the words yes and no, and I promise you that if you are in sales, you will not look at them the same way again. He talks about the different types of yes, and only one of them is the one that you want to hear. But they all sound the same, so you need to learn how they're used and in what contexts. I had no idea about any of this. I had a feeling there was some danger about the word yes because it's so glorified like universally by so many salespeople and business people, but that feeling is a little bit sharper now and not as far back in my head. Now if I walk up to your door, instead of asking if you have a few minutes to talk, I'm probably going to be more likely to ask, is now a bad time to talk? I found out how important time is in a negotiation. I had a feeling about that too, but it never really occurred to me how important it is. Not just how good of a time it is, but also how long a time they have. Because if you have a deadline and they have a deadline and you hide your deadline and they hide their deadline and no one knows how long the other person has, that is easily one of, you know, those little supposedly factors and reasons why things go wrong that we try to comfort ourselves and each other afterwards and say, it's okay, you didn't know that they were short on time. Are they serious? because you easily could have, and vice versa. Think about how much more valuable time is today than it used to be. YouTube's partner program, where you can get paid per view through AdSense, is something that you are eligible for after you get 4,000 hours of watch time on your videos in a span of 12 months. Time, not views. That and 1,000 subs, because that, I guess, indicates some degree of interest or depth. For anyone curious, by the way, I am 1/3 of the way there in watch time and almost half of the way there in subs. With that being said, I really hope you guys have like some sort of short-term goals of your own that you are working on. And if you do, please tell me the one you're working the most on in the comments below. I'm very curious about that. What are the concerns and priorities of the people who watch my videos? Because I like to think all of us are very badass. Chapter 6 called Bend Their Reality and Chapter 7 called Create the Illusion of Control. They both sound like something that's straight out of almost a Robert Greene book, like 33 Strategies of War specifically. That is, if Greene wrote from his own experience rather than the most exemplary and drastic in human history. The author discusses a book that I have brought up so many times in this channel in the past few months. The groundbreaking, notorious Black Swan by Nassim Taleb. This is like the 3rd book review in a row that I've brought it up. Say what you want about the man's writing style, but he does make an excellent point. You and I and everyone, none of us know what we don't know. And if it's true that most people don't know this, I would argue that's one of the biggest unseen problems of the information age. A black swan is an unexpected event or fact that leaves a crucial impact on the outcome of its own aftermath, I suppose. That's a good word. And the author says that there are at least 3... That was the weirdest burp I've ever done in my life. The author says that there are at least 3 black swans on each side up front of a negotiation. And the author is so serious about this that he named his company the Black Swan Group. Quotes, contrary to popular opinion, listening is not a passive activity, it is the most active thing you can do. Assumptions blind, hypotheses guide. How can you separate people from the problem when their emotions are the problem? At the end of the day, yes is often a meaningless answer that hides deeper objections and maybe is even worse. An early yes is often just a cheap counterfeit dodge. As an exercise, the next time you get a telemarketing call, write down the questions the seller asks. I promise you will find that your level of discomfort correlates directly with how quickly he pushes you for yes. As you'll learn, the sweetest 2 words in any negotiation are, that's right. We don't compromise because it's right. We compromise because it's easy and because it saves face. We are all to some degree blind. We do not know what it is around the corner until we turn it. When the pressure is on, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your preparation. Direction 1. This book will teach you how to reclaim control of conversations that determine the qualities of your life and career. So if you have no control to start with, or worse, if you used to and you don't anymore, believe me, I've been there. It's not easy to fix, but it's always worth it. I definitely recommend checking this book out. That and anyone who thinks that getting to yes is like the only negotiations book that's really worth looking at. Direction 2. If you have checked out this book, however, of course not getting to yes, I think there's plenty of value in that one as well. I really admire how different they both are from each other. This one sounds a bit more extreme, granted the fact that it was written like, I don't know, like 30 years later. But again, they both kind of stand out on their own in terms of what you can get out of each of them. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out and read the reviews. That and all the other books that I mentioned in this video if you want to check those out as well. If there are any other books that you guys want me to check out and review, please let me know in the comments below. Also let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it. But hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't get why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe, but if you have subscribed and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to receive a notification every time I drop a new video, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere and I will see you then.